Viewer beware, you're in for a scare.
What's up, you guys? So it's been about a week since I last uploaded a video, but I've been trying to think. I wanted to do something new with this channel. I wanted to put like a new series on here. So I had to think what it would be about, and I figured, hey, I'm pretty good at reviewing things. I can go ahead and do that. But I had to pick what I wanted to review. I could have reviewed games, I could review movies, and then it occurred to me, books. I can review books. But I didn't want just run-of-the-mill books. I wanted books that were specific, and I was like, I could do horror books, because I don't really do horror all that much unless it's October. And I figured doing horror would be really good to build up to October. So I created a new show on this channel, so that way I can review some of my favorite stories. And what did I call this show? Shiver Shelf. And which book series did I pick to review first in it? Well, just watch the intro.
Welcome to Horrorland, where nightmares come to life.
I'll tell you to death. I'll tell you to skin off her bones.
Karu Marie O'Donna, Loma Milano Carano. I hope you're all as excited as I am that I'm reviewing Goosebumps. So where shall we start on this epic journey of a beloved children's series? Well, we're gonna start at the very beginning of Goosebumps, the very first story. Welcome to Dead House. Now you're probably sitting or standing there looking at me going, Dalton, you brown-haired bimbo, what is Welcome to Dead House about? Well, let us read to the back and find out. Oh. I forgot that Goosebumps had these little catchphrases on the back for each book. Apparently, Welcome to Dead House's catchphrase is, enter at your own risk. Or at least that's what it is in the reprint. I don't really know what it is for the original. Josh and Amanda just moved into the oldest, weirdest house on the block. It might even be haunted. But their parents don't believe them. You'll get used to it, they say. Go out and make some new friends. So Josh and Amanda do. But these creepy new friends are not exactly what Mom and Dad had in mind. Because they want to be friends forever. Now, Welcome to Dead House has some very good qualities to it. For example, this is one of the Goosebumps books that has kind of this underlying fear to it. It's something that's much deeper than the monsters ever are, even though the monsters are very memorable in the whole series. The fear that I think this book tries to convey to children would be the fear of moving. Because when you look at moving, it's kind of terrifying for children. They're leaving a house that they grew up in their entire life. They are leaving a school they have grown used to. They're leaving all of their friends behind. And this was before the internet existed. So usually it wasn't too common for you to stay in touch with friends that you had in a different town. So way back in the 90s, where the internet wasn't exactly the best, it was actually genuinely terrifying to move because you were losing everything that you cared about. Speaking of which, I really like how this book conveys moving. It doesn't show it as, oh, it's just a quick, simple process where you just pack up everything and move. Then again, it's not torturous, slow, and painful like watching a Game of Thrones episode. Because that show gets too real. But it shows that Amanda has told herself that she is not going to cry. She's not going to make a giant scene for everybody. She is just going to hurry up, pack up her things, and then just go. And then there's one moment where she's with her best friend, and her best friend is going to tell her goodbye for the last time. And Amanda just starts remembering all of these things, and she just kind of breaks down in front of her best friend, and her best friend kind of breaks down with her and tries to make her feel better. And throughout the whole story, there's kind of like this subtle atmosphere of it's a bit sad because she just left everything she knew just to go to this new weird house. Speaking of which, the atmosphere in the story, it's pretty good. For example, the title setting. As Amanda describes her new home, it's made out of black bricks. There's dead leaves everywhere. It's especially piled on the garden that's right in front of the porch, and it just has dead trees all over the place. And when she goes inside, she says it's not as bad as it is on the outside, but she says it's still a bit intimidating. It's still big and it's still creaky like old houses are. But not only is the house creepy, the town Dark Falls, which is where the story takes place, is very creepy all by itself. Basically, in Dark Falls, it gets darker a lot faster. Like if it were mid-afternoon in Dark Falls, it would look like it was almost the middle of the night. And Dark Falls had no street lights on it at all. It had no lamps, nothing. It was just a really dark town. And if that wasn't creepy enough, every time Amanda and Josh meet new kids and they tell them, oh, we live here, all of the kids look at them and just go, oh, yeah, I know where you live. I used to live in your house. And throughout the whole story, Amanda and Josh just think that they're just hearing things, that these kids aren't really saying that because that's impossible. Speaking of impossible things, a lot of the supernatural events in Welcome to Dead House are very creepy, to say the least. The first one that Amanda really comes across is when she first arrives in Dark Falls and she looks up into the windows of the second floor and she swears she sees a boy looking down at her. And she tells her parents about this, but her parents are like, oh, it's probably just the trees. That's probably what's making you think you're seeing somebody in the window. Which, admittedly, if you aren't looking too well, that could actually be a possibility. And then at one point, she starts hearing whispering coming from her room. She tells her parents about it. And they're just like, oh, it's just an old house. It's just making noises. It's probably just settling. And you know what? I really like how the story does that. How it kind of makes all of these supernatural events explainable. Because then it makes our narrator actually not so reliable. But of course, with all of the positives in a story, there are the negatives. And what are mine with Welcome to Dead House? Okay, to start with, it's a very slow story. I mean, the family does not move into the dead house until, I don't know, chapter 5 or 6, which for an 18-chapter book is a pretty long way to go without going into the setting you said we were going into. Another problem that I have is the parents. I mean, I like how they explain things away, but at the same time, they seem very illogical about it. I mean, at points they explain things pretty well. I mean, yeah, I could see how it would look like that there was somebody in the window because the trees kind of made an illusion like that. I understand that. However, I do not understand how a parent mistakes a pile of clothes for a young girl. Those two things aren't even close. What kind of little girl have you been seeing? Another problem that I have with is the brother. I think I just have a problem with the family, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased towards the main character. But the brother is so whiny. Every 5 minutes in this story, he's complaining about something new. And I get it. Moving, you complain about a lot of things. You complain that your friends aren't there. You complain that you're going to a new school and you aren't going to know anybody. But the brother is just a little bit. On the car ride to Dark Falls, he does this. Are we there yet? Are we there? I'm getting tired. I'm hungry. I gotta use the bathroom. And at one point, before they move into the house, the brother just decides to stay outside because I don't want to go in that place. I don't like it. I'm just And they all come back outside and the brother is gone. He has vanished. He has run off. And where did the little boy go? He went all the way to the cemetery because the dog, Petey, ran there. I mean, I get that you don't want to lose your dog, but at the same time, you could have yelled for help. And another problem I have with this story is the monsters. I mean, don't get me wrong, Goosebumps has some really memorable and creative monsters, but this story kind of has very jumbled monsters. It's very mixed up. Because the monsters we're dealing with seem to be ghosts at first, but then they say, oh, we need new blood in the town every year. And light destroys them, not just sunlight, any kind of light. which kind of explains why Dark Falls is such a dark town. So I guess they're vampires who forgot their suntan lotion? I don't know. And then my final problem is the ending of the story. The ending just seems jumbled. And before I talk about the ending, spoiler alert, please click anywhere on the video to skip this part if you do not want to have Welcome to Dead House ruined for you. So, big shock, horror, surprise, the whole neighborhood was ghosts. And of course, Amanda and Josh actually end up destroying all of their neighbors. Their houses are fine, but the neighbors are gone. So the family runs back to their home, packs up everything, and gets into their car. But before they leave, Amanda says, stop, I want to go back and look at the house just one last time. And she's looking at the house for how she describes a very long time. She almost forgets how long she was standing there. But eventually she ends up hearing tires roll onto the driveway. And she sees a new family is coming into the house. And this really confuses Amanda, and then she looks back on the porch of the house, and there's Mr. Dawes, the guy who showed them the house to begin with, and one of the first neighbors they met who lived in Dark Falls. And he was hit with direct sunlight. So it's very odd that he's back, and one of the kids in the new car comes out and sees Amanda and goes, oh, who are you? And she looks at the kid and goes, oh, I used to live in your house. And that's just how the story ends. It's a very jumbled ending to me because one, we saw Mr. Dawes get destroyed by pure sunlight. So if he can come back from being hit with light, then what's the point of having no lights in Dark Falls? It just makes your town look suspicious. That and why would all the kids just hide from the light? Because at the end of the day, it just wouldn't hurt them. I understand it because they're trying to make sure that the kids don't know. They don't want Amanda and Josh to know about it. Another part of it that confuses me is when Amanda says, oh, I used to live in your house. And in that passage, it also said that she had stood there for so long that she forgot how long she was actually standing there. And that makes me think, well, maybe Amanda didn't get away. Maybe something in Dark Falls caught her and she's now one of the ghosts. But that never gets clarified at the end of the story. And then probably the one thing that I really have a problem with, and so do most people of this story, is that after Amanda says, oh, I used to live in your house, it's assumed that she just leaves and lets the family just go into the house. It's very confusing because she knows what's going on in Dark Falls. She knows that all these ghosts are going to try to murder this family. And does she go, oh, no, you don't want to live here. They're all crazy, they're all ghosts, they're gonna want your blood. No, she's just like, oh, I used to live in your house, bye! And it's just a very confusing ending to me. So at the end of the day, I would have to give Welcome to Dead House a 5 to 5.5 out of 10. Here's the thing, is that it's a story that clearly has problems. However, I excuse it because it is the first of the series. So hopefully, gradually, through time, the series gets better and better. And to be honest, Welcome to Dead House is an okay story. It's a kind of a shaky start to what became a phenomenal hit with kids, but it's still a good story. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Shiver Shelf, and I will see you next time. Bye!